payments adoption within the government. The organ that's responsible for taking the lead on this agenda is the State Bank of Pakistan. Salimullah Saab is here. Spends a lot of time with us on this. I'll speak briefly about that. The second pillar is digital public infrastructure, which is led by the Ministry of IT. And the third is government payments digitization. That's led by the Finance Ministry or the Finance Division itself. So if I was to take digital payments adoption first, when we sat down last year, we decided that these are the three broad areas that we need to work on. But then we decided which metrics we need to start tracking, how do we define them, how do we incentivize them, and after deciding a set of policy measures and metrics, we gave it a structure in the form of a dashboard. Then we had debates internally as a committee to decide the targets for it. And now, a year later, I'm pleased to say that on some of those measures, we've made meaningful progress. The first target we had was to quadruple active merchants on digital payments. That number stood at 500,000 in June last year. I'm pleased to say that that number stands at 2 million, over 2 million today. Similarly, last summer, the number of digital banking users in the country, as reported by the State Bank, stood at 95 million people. The target was to take that number to 120 million by June this year. And I'm pleased to say that we exceeded that target by achieving 135 million digital banking users. The number of digital transactions has also increased significantly from 6.9 billion to 11.3 billion. And all of this has been done because of the drive and the commitment that the Prime Minister has specifically shown to this agenda and the amount of time he's given. In the initial months of this program, the Prime Minister was holding fortnightly meetings for this particular agenda. And we as a committee would spend 3, 4, 5 hours every fortnight prior to that meeting in order to achieve those objectives. One of the things that was introduced in all this was a subsidy for MDR charges for payments through QR code. And the growth that I've mentioned from 500,000 to over 2 million active merchants on digital payments has primarily been driven by RAST QR. RAST itself has been operationalized. It has a new CEO. The board is now fully functional, and it is now playing a very critical and central role in all this. Similarly, on the digital public infrastructure side, the Ministry of IT has been taking the lead. But I'll just give a couple of examples. Obviously, you cannot digitize the economy, you cannot go cashless without having adequate, reliable, affordable digital public infrastructure. So to that end, two recent developments that are worth highlighting are the 5G rollout that you've seen. I think that will play a major role going forward. But in addition to the speeds, the coverage and the smartphone penetration are also quite critical. And so to that end, as one of the measures that was taken in this committee in order to make Pakistan cashless, right-of-way charges were waived for federal government institutions such as the National Highway Authority and Pakistan Railways in order to ensure that fiberization could be proliferated. The third very important pillar is the digitization of government payments, both G2P and P2G. And as a committee, we are not just focusing on the federal government, we're also focusing on the provincial governments, which is really where the bulk of the public-facing payments happen. So I'm pleased to say that the provinces are fully on board in this process. If I recall correctly, the G2P and P2G payments respectively are around 24 trillion rupees and 17 trillion rupees annually. So that's a huge amount. And just on payments that are made by the government's centralized entities, I'm pleased to say that the number of, or the percentage of G2P payments by centralized entities that were digitized last June stood at 9%. That number now stands at 75%. Similarly, government payments made by self-accounting entities stood at 5% last summer, and they now stand at 74%. The objective, it's a tall order, but we've got good momentum. The objective is to have, by the end of this year, government payments by all governments in the country, provincial and federal, to be totally digital. That means every pensioner, every employee, every vendor gets paid digitally directly to their accounts, no checkbooks, no visits to the offices, in order to both reduce friction and to increase convenience. Similarly, another objective of the committee is to completely digitize all P2G payments, which means every citizen in the country that's paying for a government service